Welcome to Skytech-Lens. For decades, Canada's natural gas flowed almost exclusively south to the United States, following a well-worn path that had been established for generations. The vast network of pipelines crisscrossing the Canadian landscape was built with one destination in mind: the American market. This close relationship tied Canada's fortunes to a single customer, making the country's energy sector heavily dependent on the economic health and political climate of its neighbor to the south. This dependency left Canada vulnerable to sudden shifts in American market demand, regulatory changes, and even political whims that could alter the flow of trade overnight. The fate of Canadian gas was often decided in boardrooms and government offices far from home. But in 2025, everything changed. After years of planning, investment, and debate, a new chapter began for Canadian energy. For the first time, massive LNG tankers departed British Columbia, bound not for the US, but for Asia's booming energy markets. These ships represented more than just a new trade route. They symbolized a fundamental shift in Canada's economic strategy. Countries like Japan, South Korea, and China eagerly awaited these shipments, recognizing Canadian LNG as a reliable and cleaner alternative to other sources. The anticipation in Asian ports was matched by excitement back home. The launch of these shipments marked a bold declaration of economic independence, as Canada signaled its readiness to compete on the world stage and forge new partnerships beyond North America. Canada was finally diversifying, breaking free from its reliance on the US and stepping onto the global energy stage. The new trade routes stretched across the Pacific, connecting Canadian resources to the world's fastest-growing economies. This pivot is about more than selling gas. It's about redefining Canada's role in the world. It's about building influence, fostering innovation, and ensuring long-term prosperity for future generations. By opening a direct sea route to Asia, Canada is taking control of its economic future and building new relationships with the world's fastest-growing economies. These connections promise not only new markets, but also opportunities for collaboration in technology, sustainability, and trade. The move provides a crucial buffer against trade disputes and political pressures from the south, making Canada's economy more resilient. Diversification means greater stability and the ability to weather global uncertainties. As the first LNG tanker sailed west, it carried not just energy, but the promise of a new Canadian identity, one defined by independence and global reach. The journey was a symbol of hope and ambition for the entire nation. The journey was long, but the payoff is a new era for Canada, one where the country stands tall as a global energy leader, ready to shape its own destiny on the world stage. The LNG Canada terminal in Kitimat is the engine of this transformation, a $40 billion mega-project and one of the largest private investments in Canadian history. Here, natural gas is supercooled to a liquid, shrinking its volume 600-fold for easy export across oceans. The first phase alone can process and export 14 million tons of LNG annually, supplied by the 670-kilometer Coastal GasLink pipeline. The project created over 50,000 jobs nationwide and revitalized Kitimat, a town of just 8,000. Ambitious plans are already underway to double capacity, potentially placing Canada among the world's top 5 LNG exporters. This isn't just infrastructure, it's a long-term bet on Canada's global competitiveness. The first shipments in 2025 mark the end of a massive construction effort and the start of a new commercial reality. LNG Canada is the launchpad for Canada's bold new direction. The timing of Canada's LNG debut couldn't be better. As the world shifts toward cleaner fuels, Canada is stepping onto the global stage just as demand in Asia reaches unprecedented heights. Asia's economic giants, Japan, China, and South Korea, face a critical energy dilemma. Their economies are booming, populations are growing, and the need for cleaner, more reliable power is more urgent than ever before. Japan, still cautious after the Fukushima disaster, is determined to secure stable, long-term LNG contracts. The country is balancing its climate goals with the need to keep the lights on for millions of homes and businesses. South Korea is rapidly phasing out coal, investing heavily in new LNG storage, and modernizing its energy grid. Meanwhile, China's appetite for natural gas has exploded, making it the world's top LNG importer and a key player in global energy markets. Geopolitical tensions, supply chain risks, and a growing desire for energy security make Canada an especially attractive partner. Its reputation for stability and reliability stands out in a world full of uncertainty. Asian buyers crave predictability in a volatile world rocked by trade wars, shifting alliances, and frequent supply disruptions. They need partners they can trust for the long haul. Canada's strong rule of law, transparent governance, and commitment to fair trade offer exactly that kind of reassurance. It's a foundation for lasting partnerships. The arrival of Canadian LNG in 2025 marked a turning point, giving Asian nations a new, reliable source of energy to power their cities and industries. For these countries, Canadian LNG isn't just another commodity. It's a promise of security, stability, and a cleaner future for generations to come. And for Canada, it's more than just business. It's a ticket to the world's fastest-growing markets and a chance to shape the future of global energy. In the crowded and competitive global LNG market, Canada stands out for its clean, ethical approach to energy production and export. While many countries are racing to supply LNG, Canada is setting itself apart by prioritizing environmental stewardship, social responsibility, and long-term reliability. The Kitimat terminal, for example, runs almost entirely on renewable hydroelectricity, giving its LNG one of the world's lowest carbon footprints. This commitment to clean energy not only reduces emissions but also demonstrates Canada's leadership in sustainable resource development. For climate-conscious Asian buyers, this is a major draw. They're seeking partners who can help them meet ambitious climate targets, and Canadian LNG offers a solution that aligns with their environmental goals. Canada's model of social responsibility is equally compelling. Here, the Haisla Nation is an equity partner, ensuring local communities benefit directly from LNG projects. This partnership model is unique and fosters trust, inclusion, and shared prosperity. Future projects like Cedar LNG will be majority Indigenous-owned, setting a new global standard for Indigenous participation and leadership in the energy sector. This approach is inspiring other nations to rethink how they engage with local communities. Canada's ESG credentials, environmental, social, and governance, are matched by its geographic advantage. With a direct 10-day shipping route to Asia, Canadian LNG reaches key markets in half the time of U.S. Gulf Coast exports, reducing both costs and emissions. Shorter routes mean lower transportation costs, fewer emissions, and faster, more reliable delivery for customers. This efficiency is a win-win for both the environment and the bottom line. Above all, Canada's political stability, transparent regulations, and strong rule of law make it a trusted, long-term supplier. Investors and buyers know they can count on Canada for consistent, safe, and ethical energy. Asian nations signing 20- or 30-year contracts need certainty, and Canada delivers. These long-term agreements are built on trust, reliability, and a shared vision for a cleaner energy future. In a turbulent and unpredictable world, Canadian LNG is a low-risk, high-value choice for global energy security and sustainability. It's energy with a conscience, delivered responsibly for today and for generations to come. As Canada looked west, its relationship with the U.S. grew tense. In 2025, the Trump administration threatened a 10% tariff on Canadian natural gas, shaking the integrated North American market. The move exposed the risks of over-reliance on a single trading partner. U.S. regions like New England depend on Canadian gas, and tariffs could have triggered price spikes and supply disruptions. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney responded with a firm warning of retaliatory duties. Though tariffs were paused for negotiations, the uncertainty lingered. Canada's pivot to Asia became not just wise but essential, providing leverage and a safety valve against American protectionism. The trade disputes of 2025 reinforced the urgency of building new global bridges. Canada is the newcomer in a market dominated by giants: Qatar, the US, and Australia. These countries have massive capacity and long-term contracts, but Canada isn't trying to outmuscle them. Instead, it's leveraging its low-carbon production, ESG leadership, and shorter shipping routes to Asia. Geopolitical shifts have opened doors, Russia's gas exports to Europe have plummeted, and US-China trade friction has Chinese buyers seeking alternatives. Canada's initial 14 million tons per year is modest, but it's targeting buyers who value reliability and ethics over just price. In a tightening global market, Canada's emergence as a stable, democratic supplier is a welcome development. The world's LNG landscape is shifting, and Canada is ready to compete. It's not about being the biggest, but about being the best partner. Canada's LNG ambitions face real challenges. Expanding capacity requires tens of billions in new investment, no small feat in an era of high interest rates and investor scrutiny. Strict environmental standards demand constant innovation, from carbon capture to electrified drilling. Canada's rigorous regulatory process, while building trust can slow approvals compared to global competitors. Maintaining strong partnerships with indigenous communities is essential for future projects. Balancing speed, sustainability, and social responsibility will be a constant test. But overcoming these hurdles is key to securing Canada's place in the global LNG market. Canada's LNG pivot is, at its core, a human story. The LNG Canada terminal and Coastal GasLink pipeline created over 50,000 jobs, revitalizing communities across the country. In Kitimat, the project brought new infrastructure, schools, and hope. Most importantly, the Haisla Nation's Equity Partnership ensures lasting prosperity for Indigenous communities. This model of economic reconciliation is a new benchmark for resource development. It proves that progress and social justice can go hand in hand. Globally, Canada's reputation as a reliable, ethical supplier is growing. By delivering clean, responsible energy, Canada is strengthening its diplomatic ties and global brand. This is more than an economic venture, it's nation-building. Canada's Asian LNG pivot offers powerful lessons for the world. First, economic sovereignty matters. Diversifying customers gives nations control over their destiny. Second, responsible development pays off. Clean energy and indigenous partnerships are now competitive advantages. Third, long-term vision and perseverance are essential. Nation-building projects take time and commitment. Canada's journey is about more than gas. It's about forging a new identity on the world stage. By balancing economic, environmental, and social goals, Canada sets a model for others. True energy leadership is about values, not just volume. The North's lessons are a blueprint for a more secure, responsible global energy future. Thanks for watching a video, and subscribe to channel Skytech-Lens for more updates.